So as I was saying, go ahead and draw this double number line. Now what we're doing is we're dealing with 1/7, meaning that 7/7 is going to be our whole. So I'm going to draw that over here. And the percentage of 7/7 is the same thing as 100%. Now let's look at 0/7 because that's where this factor or this double number line is going to start. 0/7 is the same thing as 0%. Now, why don't you go ahead and with your double number line, draw 1/7, 2/7, 3/7, 4/7, 5/7, 6/7, and there's 7/7. Now I'm going to go ahead and label all of these 1/7, 2/7, 3/7, 4/7, 5/7, and 6/7. Okay, now the one that we are looking for here is 1/7. If this is 0%, this is 100%. I know that 50% is going to fall somewhere in between here. And even if I think of quarters, 50, and if I cut this 50% mark in half, that 25% would be somewhere down here. And so that means that my answer for 1/7, that percentage is going to have to be in between 0 and 25%. If I look at 14 and 29 hundredths of percent, that makes sense, meaning that I get to move on knowing that 14 and 29 hundredths of a percent works for this problem. I highly encourage you to go ahead and use a double number line as a quick check because it tells you if your percentage is headed in the right direction and you want your answer to be reasonable. This leads me to my last example. I know that last time we got to work with a number that had a 1 in the numerator, but why don't we try it where there is something other than a 1 in the numerator? I'm going to change 7/8 into a percent, and I know that all percents have to be over 100. I know that a not so nice number is multiplied by 8 to give me 100. I just don't know what that is. So I'm going to go over and yet again divide 100 divided by 8. I know that 8 goes into 10 one time. 8 times 1 is 8. 10 minus 8 is 2. Bring down the 0, and then 8 goes into 20 two times, and that's 2 times 8, which is 16, and that is going to give me a 4, and I need to take this further. I know that if I bring down the 0, I have to hop up the decimal there, which also means that 8 goes into 45 times, and that makes me so excited because then I don't have to take this out to the hundredths place because there's no numerator, and so I'm moving on. Now, I know that 8 times, I no longer have a mystery number, which is exciting. I know that 8 times 12 and 5/10 gives me 100%. Now, in order to figure out what the actual percentage of 7/8 is going to be, what you multiply the bottom by, you have to multiply the top by. And so I'm going to get my eraser tool out. I'm not just multiplying 1 this time because there's actually 7 parts involved in this problem. So I know that 12 and 5/10 times 7. I know I'm going to multiply by powers of 10, so I'm going to just move that aside, multiplied it by 10 like we were talking about at the beginning of the year. I'll save it for later. 5 times 7 is 35. I'm going to carry the 3. 2 times 7 is 14. Plus 3 is 17. Carry the 1. And then you have 7 times 1 plus 1 is 8. I know I will move the decimal over one time at the beginning of the problem. I have to move it back for it to make sense. So I know that I'm thinking my answer is going to be 87 and 5/10 over 100, which means that my answer, and do not forget to write your answer this way, is going to be 87 and 5/10%. Now, I need to check if this is reasonable, so I'm going to do a double number line. Going to take the same one that I was using before and just draw it right here. This time I'm dealing with 8s, so I know that I have 0 8s here. Ooh, that does not look like an 8. Classic Miss Gallegos. Does not look like an 8 at all. So I know that this is going to be 0 8s. Then I also know that this is going to be 8 8s. 0 8s is 0%. 8/8 is 100%. And so that means I have 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8. Notice it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just giving you a picture. I know that I have 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8. Alrighty. Now this is a nice one because I know that 4/8 is actually where the 50% mark is. I'm looking for 7/8. And I know 7/8, I can just eyeball it. That's really close to 100. So I already know it's going to be between 50 and 100. And if I were to think of this as in quarters and break this even in half here, 75% would be here. And I know that it's even going to be higher than that. So I'm curious if I write 87 and 0.5%, if that is reasonable. Just by eyeballing it, absolutely it is reasonable. The reason why I'm doing a double number line here is I promise you, because I even make this mistake, some of us might accidentally think that the answer is 12 and 5/10, when really that is only finding what 1/8 is as a percent. So it's really important to check your work with these double number lines to make sure that you are on the right track. I know that you have a lot to work on, and I'm hoping that this was helpful to you. I have emailed you the video if you need to refer to it at any time during your work time for help. But good luck with your math this morning, and I'm looking forward to hearing about how it goes tomorrow. Have a good day, guys. Bye.